So my take is, if you eliminate bodily fluids, then there is no Pornhub. I'm sorry to say. You got to say bye bye to facials, bye bye to bukkake, bye bye to ATMs. I don't want to live in that kind of a world. Welcome to Rewind Forward. This week we got the Italian Stallion, Sylvester Stallone and Demolition Man. Yeah, Aaron, take over.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings and salutations. We are here again. Welcome back, Rafal, and we are introducing Andy as well. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's one of my favorite movies. So I want to tell you, I'm so excited to have me here with you. I'm excited to be here, guys.
We're going to love your insight, man. I can guarantee that. All right, let's go over the specs, Aaron.
So, Demolition Man, directed by Marco Brambilla, and this is basically his only good movie. I don't think he did a couple others, but nothing close to this. So this was definitely his best. Produced one of the producers, Joel Silver, on this movie. Joel Silver, so pretty good production crew here. It was distributed by Warner Brothers on October 8th, 1993, a running time of 115 minutes, so just about that 2-hour mark. Budget of somewhere in between 45 to 77, I guess, depending on how much Stallone had to get paid. I don't know. And the box office made 159.1, so about 160 back in 93. That's pretty solid.
That's a solid year. And Stallone is the main character. I mean, the main actor, and so is Wesley Snipes. What's interesting is Wesley Snipes started the whole Dennis Rodman thing before Dennis Rodman. He took a dip in the bleach bottle and kept it going. And I remember watching this movie and on VHS, obviously. But Andy, you saw it in another format, right?
I did. I most certainly did. I have the DVD version, and let me tell you, this is that during that time when they were in the middle of, is it going to be widescreen or full screen? So they have the old school flip it over for widescreen. The problem is it says reverse side widescreen, which means you're supposed to flip it over. But everybody knows the minute you flip it over and you push play, you already picked the wrong side. So, 10 years later, I fell for the same issue, and I'm sitting there figuring it out. I put the DVD in, and lo and behold, it was full screen. And for some reason, the closed caption turned on as well. So, I don't know what was going on with technology back then, but it wasn't future-proof. So
I'm impressed you still have some DVDs around.
Coming from the guy with one of the biggest DVD collections I've ever seen.
I do have them. They're in my basement right now, covered in dust.
And
I should go through them.
What about DivX? Remember that? You were one of the first ones on board.
I was rocking some DivX back in the day.
What was it? Circuit City? Circuit City was the one.
And the Wiz.
Yeah.
Oh,
Media
the
Play.
Wiz. No wonder why they went out of business.
And Media Play.
And Media Play, right. That was the war, the beta VHS equivalent. DVD and DivX. Those were the days.
This is before HD DVD and Blu-ray. It was DivX and that.
So what stood out in the movie, Aaron?
Definitely the commercial songs. I mean, I remember seeing this in 93 and just singing, the Armored Hot Dog song and the Jolly Green Giant song. They definitely get stuck in your head. And I have definitely been walking around the house singing the Armored Hot Dog song just like all day. My kids are looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? A couple of T2 references in here that were kind of interesting are, talking about Arnold, and then, towards the end with the head shattering, kind of a reference to T2 or the T1000. So this is our third podcast we're doing. We did one Arnold flick, and then Time Cop in this one had a couple of references to Terminator. So I don't know if that's just like, that kind of pinnacle that people look to of as far as action movies and kind of taking parts, or if it's just, a coincidence. I don't know.
Well, I think they were crowd freezing everything back in the day. So if you think about like Dippin' Dots, and so they're like, you know what? Let's freeze somebody's head and smash it. It's the same thing as Dippin' Dots, right?
I guess
I think
so.
at that
And
time,
if you're gonna get someone at the end, I guess if they're frozen, they have to shatter into a million pieces. So maybe just a coincidence. Who knows?
Well, no, Sylvester even admitted that he was competing with Arnold in the 90s. Like, his agent would say, he did Terminator, you do Rambo. He did Twins, you do Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Comedies. That didn't go too well for Sylvester, though. I would fire my agent after that one.
Going all day long.
They were like the big three. It was those two, and then eventually Bruce Willis came along, and then they were the action movies to see. We got Van Damme as well. So thinking back to my childhood days of my favorite action stars, I think they could be the Mount Rushmore of action movies of that time, of like that 80s, 90s.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, definitely. And then for future reference, we might dip into Bruce Willis and 12 Monkeys, because that's a
awesome
good one.
Flick.
That's an awesome flick.
We'll have you back for that one, Andy.
Yeah, you got to be back.
That's a brain buster. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
You have to watch it like 2 or 3 times to really grasp it. And actually, that's the beauty of the movie. What stood out for me is obviously Taco Bell / Pizza Hut, the kimonos, random naked broads on video phone, and the no touching, the quarantine high five, I guess, social distancing high five, which makes a lot of sense right now. What about you, Andy? What stood out?
There's a couple things out there. So one of the things that I found interesting were the big blocks of ice. And speaking of blocks of ice, these guys are frozen naked. So, it was a nice time, before his early days, this was a nice time to see a little shot of Stallone's little dingling. Kind of, if you turn it at the right angle, you're looking and you kind of can see a little peek of this.
His little styling, right?
Was that one of the DVD? Was that one of the DVD features on your?
Oh yeah, it was one of the first ones where you can do multiple angles.
Yeah.
That's why it was widescreen, right?
That's what it was widescreen
for that shot. Yeah, Sylvester had a tendency to show his ass or his dong, Tango and Cash. This one and Kitty and Studs, right?
Yeah.
A
lot of little stallion on screen.
Yeah, I think he's like, what, I work out so much, I got to show it. It's like,
Yep.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, he just loves showing off. Little tidbit, if you tell Stallone he has skinny legs, he'll kick your ass. That's the main thing. No. Here's the truth. From what I hear, rumors, he always wears long pants in movies strictly for that reason. He's not a fan of his own calves and thighs. So if you see a close-up of that, that's usually a stunt double.
So there is no leg day. He doesn't.
There is no leg day with Stallone.
He should have had implants. Should have had calf implants.
He should have, yeah.
Johnny Drama wanted to do calf implants. Stallone should have done calf implants.
Oh, good reference to Entourage. Yeah. All right. So actually, speaking of Stallone, Aaron, you got to admit he's quite relevant.
So, I mean, he's been relevant for 6 decades. And if you want to include his first movie ever, The Square Root, which came out in 1969, we could go 7 decades: 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s, because he's still making movies and has more coming out. And recently,
and TV shows.
Yeah, and recently just announced Demolition Man 2 is in the works right now.
Yeah,
just recently. So he's been relevant for 6 up to 7 decades. And if you're not sure, The Square Root, the description of the movie on IMDb, photographer Peter Christensen, University of Miami student, does a picture story at an LSD party on the beach. That's a description of the movie. So
is this on like Prime or something? Where
I don't know where to get this one. If you have a copy, let us know. I would love to see it.
Comments below and links, please.
Definitely.
We want more Stallone. We want more Stallone.
And maybe because he was a University of Miami alum, right?
Yeah.
So this could have been a documentary. Could possibly be a documentary film. Not sure. Let us know. And then, of course, he followed that one up with the X-rated The Party at Kitty and Studs.
Mhm.
And the description of this one, I'm sure most people know this one, but Studs, played by Stallone, has his girlfriend, and they invite some other girls over, and then he proceeds to pleasure all of them. So, and then that's where the nickname, the Italian Stallion, came from. It was not Rocky. It was The Party at Kitty and Studs.
Yeah.
You know, when I first heard about that, I thought that was the name of the movie, but I guess that's where he got his nickname. So, okay.
No, I think they wanted to make some extra cash later on, and they changed the name to a movie. So I think we're all right as far as the name. And then later on, they changed it just to garner some more attention for the play.
Yeah, because on the picture, it said something about like the star of Rocky is starring in this one. So maybe they changed it after they had that Italian Stallion nickname in Rocky.
Yeah.
To this to maybe garner some more money from it. I think it had like 2.9 stars on IMDb. So I don't think it was very
How many
good.
tomatoes?
Yeah. No, I've never seen it. Have either of you seen this one?
No.
No.
Yeah. I was like,
No, I have high standards in my porno viewing. I have high standards.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
and just one more thing for me with Stallone this year, he also had Cliffhanger, which was a great film. And for me, very rewatchable.
Yeah, that opening scene was repeated in in so many movies and even comedies. That opening scene with him just hanging and almost falling with the helicopter coming in to pick him up.
Yeah, I think Ace Ventura did one with a raccoon.
Yes,
With
with the little bird with the scene.
Yeah. So that was great. And we mentioned in the last podcast with John Lithgow, who was the bad guy in that, did a great job. So anyone listen, if you haven't seen Cliffhanger in a while, go back and watch that one too.
And you find out what true love is.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice. One of the best lines. Please link down below that scene because it's one of the best. So in regards to Sylvester Stallone, around this time, there's rumors going around his steroid use and rocking a toupee. Can't confirm or deny. Aaron, you said he's been in the business for 60 years, but I think his hair has been changing every decade as well. He's been reinventing that hair.
Yeah.
And has it been fuller? Has it been thinner? What are we seeing?
So it was getting quite thin around Rocky 2, and all of a sudden he gained a lot of hair. And I think back in the day they didn't do hair transplants. I think he's rocking a toupee, but hey, whatever works for him.
Or does it come out of a can? Because then it was the 80s and 90s. I think the hair in a can was the big thing back in the day.
Oh yeah, the spray.
Yeah, the hair spray in a can spray.
So
I want to just get a can of that just to see what it does.
Yeah, well, I'm losing quite a bit, so I might try it, and we'll do one episode with me rocking it. So also, Andy, you got the no-name stars on here. Let's go over that.
God. I want to come back to that, but he is one of my favorite no-name people on this movie. It's Rob Schneider. Mm-hmm. And he has the famous quote of time: he doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Oh yeah, the famous bathroom scene. We'll get back to that, but that is one of the best ones. And he's uncredited, right?
He is uncredited, and still has the funniest scene when Sylvester Stallone was coming out and he wakes up and he's cracking jokes and just so iconic in the movie. It's one of my favorite scenes. And what's great is that he ends up having a bigger role with him in Judge Dredd, which is another one of my favorite movies. This one and Judge Dredd, hands down, some of my favorite Stallone movies. Just one of those action-packed, nonstop, and just so funny that Rob Schneider did not get credit for this movie.
But that probably led to Judge Dredd, this movie.
Oh yeah, he had that same comedic rhythm, just very dumb and quirky, and the same. It's almost verbatim the same role, just in 2 different movies. So yeah, I'm glad they picked him up for a second movie.
And also Dan Cortez. Well, the sad part is, before you go on, not a lot of our viewers will know who Dan Cortez is. This is the time where you guys go on a wiki page. I'm sorry, but we know who Dan Cortez is.
Yes.
You want to explain it, Andy?
Dan Cortez is 90s MTV royalty.
Yeah.
And for him, his top billing is Taco Bell entertainer.
Thinking the Jolly Green Giant. That one's stuck in my head.
In the Jolly Green Giant. And it's funny because when you go on IMDb, they have a section for known for, like where they say where you might know this person. It's his number one build known for on IMDb. And for me, that's funny because you must have had one hell of a film career if your number one flick is a Taco Bell entertainer in a Sylvester Stallone movie.
Oh, doesn't get better than that. Doesn't get better than that.
He's no Chico.
He's
true.
He's
No, he's
Chico.
the opposite of Chico because in previous
That's right.
episode we mentioned 140 and change credits for Chico.
You guys loved you some Chico in that last episode, huh?
You know, I started
Daddy
loving
came.
him once I checked out his IMDb page and realized this guy's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's either the extreme, he only shows up for one movie and never hear from him again, or every year he's banging out like 2 movies where he's a thug or a gangster. All right, so the next actor we want to mention is obviously Sandra Bullock. This movie is right before Speed, so she was still a nobody, well, not a nobody, a no name. Before,
because she had a few movies before this, but I think this propelled her and Speed propelled her, and you could see a little bit of that sense, like she's got some stardom in her, she could kind of hold the screen with Stallone and kind of add to it. So she definitely had that stardom in there. And you could tell she was ready for the big screen.
Oh, and she looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. Pretty damn good's an understatement, man. So let me tell you guys, when this movie came out, I think it was about 14. And I had hands down the biggest celebrity crush on Sandra Bullock. So what's funny is I saw her in this movie and I started crushing, and then I went out and I saw Miss Congeniality and I loved it because Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her so much that I ended up going to see Miss Congeniality 2 in the theaters.
That's a problem.
Yeah, a little bit. So, it was, huge fan. And then when she recently came out with Bird Box, I was like, oh, she still got it.
Yeah.
Celebrity crushing on her.
She's still worth the squirt. I got you beat. I saw Speed 2 Cruise Control in theaters, which I think I was the only one with a date.
Is that on a boat?
Yeah.
That's the boat. That's the boat.
How
I
fast
thought
is that thing going?
Cruise Control. I thought it was Sandra and Tom Cruise, but no. That did not happen.
Right.
A lot of potential with that title.
Yeah. Didn't quite work out too well.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah. So if you're going to see Speed 2 in theaters, you're a fan.
What was it? So the bus went 88. What was the boat? Did that have to
No, I don't think it had anything to do with the speed. I remember I was on a date. I was around 14, 15, so I was just feeling a boob. I do remember.
So you're the wrong person to ask about this movie, then.
Yes, I'm the wrong person, but it was just pure crap. It's pure crap. Please don't watch it. Even I think Sandra came out and said, "Yeah, I just got paid, and that's it."
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Starring the T-1000, right?
T-1000? No.
Wasn't the actor? Same actress, T-1000?
No, Patrick was a different Patrick.
Okay. And then I guess I've just completely blocked this movie out of my memory.
You and the rest of the world.
So, all right. Unless we got anything else, you guys want to rewind?
Let's rewind.
All right, let's rewind. All right, so we are in LA in 1996. It looks pretty shitty, but hey, that's every year in LA. Right, Aaron?
That's every era, yeah.
Start us off, Aaron.
So we are introduced into this apocalyptic world in 96. Hollywood signs on fire. City's a destructive mess. You see, like, in the distance, these fires going off. And you see cars starting to, file into this warehouse, and then the chopper flying above head, bullets whizzing by it, not a single one hitting anything. And then the two police officers in the front are talking about, why are we flying into this area, and where are we going, and why are we doing this? So imagine this apocalyptic world where everything is a mess, and the two police officers have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, they just jumped on a flight and go, oh, wait.
Yeah, wait a minute. Where are we going, and why are we doing this? Stallone steps in and says, "We're doing a good deed," and then Stallone explains to them all about Simon Phoenix. So I think this movie needs to do a little bit of a better job with their exposition, like letting the audience know what's actually going on, because the pilots, is pretty dumb.
Well, how does this? Thinking about going back to when you guys did Running Man, what was Schwarzenegger saying when they were all they were in the chopper, right?
Right, but they already had a clear vision, or they knew what they wanted to do, except he gained a conscience.
They had Plan Alpha. Yeah, they had a plan.
Yeah.
These two pilots had no plan. They were just, why are we flying into this area, and where are we going?
But Andy, something similar. You're right. It's like they just like wasting fuel. Let's fly around and figure this out.
Right, exactly.
We'll wing it,
I see what you did there.
Doing a good deed. And then, we get introduced to Simon Phoenix, and he's doing a line of coke because, of course, a lot of drugs in these movies that we watch. And one of the first things as they start their fighting is Stallone delivers a nut shot right to Wesley Pipes right in the first scene. So
we're big fans of that, and
we do a lot of nut shots.
Because back in the 80s and 90s, that was the thing.
Yeah,
and we respect our actors. We respect our actors. We
do. They don't do that today, And I don't know if you were, listen to that first podcast, but we talked about the nut shots and how the actors of today, won't do them, and all the actors. And during this time,
they won't take one, or they won't give them.
They won't take one.
They won't take one.
Okay.
They won't take a nut shot. But back in the day, all of them, they were delivering them and taking them. So this one, Stallone delivers a nut shot right to Wesley Pipes, Simon Phoenix. Phoenix says, "I swear I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached." So maybe a little foreshadowing there. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then of course, I love this scene right here, right? Spartan grabs Phoenix after he kind of like knocks him out. He's running down the hallway as the building is on fire. Then it blows up, collapses, cut scene, and you just see Spartan casually walking down a pathway with the police. Like this whole entire building blew up and collapsed as he's heading down a hallway, and somehow he made it out. And a very quick judicial system back in 96, because in one scene, we have a police officer, John Spartan, who was, I guess, Phoenix just lied. Like I told him about the hostages, and he said he didn't care. And then, I don't know, it couldn't have been much later, he's being carried away into the cryo freeze. So he needed to hire OJ's attorney.
Well, they wanted a speedy trial, so
they got one. Yeah, I didn't understand that one.
That's a speedy trial. That's definitely a speedy trial. So now we are in the year of 2032, roughly a decade and change away from this year.
Still no flying cars.
But close to what we have right now, right, Aaron?
Yeah, they did pretty good with the tech here. We got like iPad type things, FaceTime in the car, self-driving mode, lots of talking tech, and no touching in the future, which was no touching, which was pretty good. That must have started this year. I think started in the year 2020. Yep. And they're fine, no cursing, nothing like bad in the future. So hopefully we don't go down that path where you can't swear, no spicy food. Nothing, anything that's bad is deemed illegal. So the sotto voce violation, which means in a quiet voice. So no cussing in the future.
Ooh, I don't think I can live in a world like that.
How do you think that works if like you're whispering? Like, you just like say,
yeah. I don't know how good those systems are, but they picked up every curse word.
Hey, when you get kicked in the shin, you never say, "Oh, darn." Obviously, there's some profanities that come out of your mouth. You can't control it. It's human nature.
Yeah.
So I don't know how realistic that is, right? All right, let's move to the unfreezing, was one of the best parts of the movie, right, Aaron?
This was great. Yeah, the unfreezing. Um, I think the police should be questioning why Phoenix is even up for parole. If you look at his list of offenses, and they show it at the screen at one point: controlled substance, petty theft, assault, manslaughter, DUI, rape, murder one, smuggling, inciting riot, extortion, robbery. And I couldn't even make out what was below the list because I paused the TV thing, and I couldn't even make out what was below. So why is he even up for parole? I mean, I know Dr. Cocteau wants him out, but the other police officers should have been like, put this guy back in.
I think it's because California is not a what do you call it? An execution state, so they got to figure something out.
Maybe
release him to the wild. I don't know about that.
Yeah. And then the unfreezing process. I think it was too quick in this movie, right? Like they take him out, he unthaws, and he's like a little groggy for a few minutes. He can't do a simple math problem, and then he's fine after that. I think the Austin Powers unfreezing process was definitely more realistic, right? They go through all the phases of unfreezing Austin Powers: the warm goo phase, the shower phase, the long piss phase, and then there's also side effects from Austin Powers where he has trouble controlling the volume of his voice. He's woozy. He has no inner monologue when Miss Kensington comes in. So when they did the unfreezing process, I thought Austin Powers was more realistic than Devil.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's there's not. Yeah, maybe they edited that part out and made it shorter, but it was just too fast for me. Austin Powers is the ultimate, personally.
They spent a lot of time on his unfreezing process. Forget the unfreezing process; it's the long piss.
Yeah, we needed the long piss. Although you do get a hefty dump later on, so maybe we're close to that, and we're going to get to that part.
Yeah, and fans of Futurama, they'll also agree. It's very close, I would say, to Austin Powers, except they get an anal probe somewhere along the line. So
Stallone nixed that one. They wanted to do that in this movie. Stallone was like, no.
Nope. I'm the Italian stallion.
I already did Kitty and Stud. He's like, I'm flattered, maybe a little curious, but I don't go for that shit.
That's great.
But then we get into Phoenix with the whole glass thing and superpowers, which this is one of the things that drives me nuts about this movie. There are scenes where all of a sudden Simon Phoenix or just even John Spartan, Sylvester Stallone have superpowers. And that's not the kind of movie that we're watching here. This is an action movie.
Yeah,
right,
and
Aaron?
they just throw that in. Well, for starters, all the glass is really weak in the future, right? Things are just smashing. He's just like punching glass and kicking. The one scene where he like drop kicks the glass in the police car and it just like shatters, just kind of falls apart. And then right after that, he gains super strength, right? Where he grabs one of the police officers, flings him out. He does like this flip, and you hear this like cartoon like woo, 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 as he goes flying away. Like what? Where in the world did that come from? And then the whole like.
I think the record scratches.
There's a record scratching, like a hip hop beat dropping during the fight scene. It's like this whole comedic sequence that is definitely out of place. So I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
Maybe the director got fired or something. It seems like the consistency wasn't there, right? There are like scenes where it seems like too cartoonish, and someone else sat in a director's chair and say, "No, will be fun." These sound effects.
During editing, somebody wanted producer credit, so that was their contribution, was the record scratch.
Some of the producers got a hold of Phoenix Simon's coke.
Yeah, ooh, that's the good stuff.
That might have happened.
But then we had John Spartan unfreeze process. Same thing as Simon, pretty quick. But Aaron, he does experience a side effect, though. Not a side effect, but we get to learn something.
Well, we learn, later too, that he's been awake this whole time. So he's probably had to drop a deuce for quite a while. He's holding this in. And so like one of the first things he does, he's like, all right, I got to go use the bathroom, forget all this nonsense. And, they tell him about his family. His wife has died, has got a daughter, which maybe that's in part 2. Maybe we see his daughter in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes to the bathroom and he comes back and he tells Lenita Huxley, like, there's no toilet paper. And She doesn't know about the 3 seashells. And then they all make fun of him like they used to use wads of paper in their hand to wipe themselves, you know. But I guess the real question is like, how does that 3 seashells really work? Because they never really talk about it. So one theory is that there's 3 seashells, so one on each of the cheeks to hold it open and one shell to wipe up the middle. But that only leaves you with 1 shell.
But how would you do that? Like you have one hand, you can't really separate and then scoop in between like your fingers. How?
I don't know.
That's too many hands.
Maybe the shells clamp. You put one shell, it clamps, the other shell clamps, and it holds the cheeks open, and then you can use the 3rd shell to wipe.
I guess in the future, everyone's a wide receiver.
Yeah. And then, of course, he comes out and, he starts cussing out at the Sochevote machine to get all that paper. Mm-hmm. And my question is he going back for another deuce, or is he just going back to wipe? I don't know. I think again, rusty railroad tracks, and he had to go for not round 2 pooping, but just wiping. Just wiping. You just have to get a good wipe.
Get the residue off.
You got to get that.
So, what would you have done in that situation? Is the question. So you come out, you drop your deuce, you see 3 seashells. What do you think he did, or what would you have done?
I don't know. I really don't know. But what's interesting is, unlike most futuristic movies, they wear darker clothes. So I think he could be fine with railroad tracks.
Yeah, covering
railroad
it up.
Tracks.
They're
wearing darker clothes.
I would have used the sock.
That's true.
Well, that's just me. You know?
Yeah. You can't flush that, though, after, though. You got to leave that. That's probably a violation in their world, too.
Just fling it. Just throw it.
That's a violation.
Comments below, please let us know how would you do it. This is the inside information you can't get anywhere else. So we experienced the first fight between the two. And that was in the museum, right, Aaron?
Yeah. What seems to be your boggle? I love that line. And and then again, we get the glass, right? It's weak, but for some reason, this one glass in the museum, he tries to punch it, doesn't break, kicks it, doesn't break. So he just picks some guy up and throws him through it, and that breaks and gets all the guns. One of the cool things is, as he's grabbing one of the guns, he says, "Excuse me, Rambo, I need to borrow this."
Yeah, exactly. I love that line. And there's a reference to Arnold being a president, which came close. I mean, he became a governor.
Yeah.
So I got to give props to the movie because I came close. What I don't understand is he grabbed a armed gun, a futuristic AC mag gun, and it's working. I assume most guns, if you go to the museum, don't work. That would just be kind of unsafe.
Probably work, but they're not going to have the ammo.
Exactly. Oh, true. But this one had the ammo. It was blowing up things.
Yeah. All of the guns, everything. He loaded up.
Well, let me tell you one thing I was disappointed in. So when we found out there were laser guns, I don't think we've seen, laser guns in movies, except for like super futuristic movies. And this is kind of like more real life. So when they got the laser gun, I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to get futuristic. And what did it take? 4 minutes to load?
To load, yeah.
2.6 minutes. 2.6
charging.
Minutes.
You know what can happen in 2.6 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could die.
Even Phoenix Simon says it. Like, I don't have this kind of time, right? One of my favorite lines in this movie is when Spartan throws a TV at Phoenix and he blurts out, "You're on TV."
It's so dumb.
It is dumb.
Great.
So dumb.
It's great.
It's so bad it's good.
It's so bad it's good. Yeah. Right up there with Lenina Huxley's line, "You really licked his ass." After,
kicked his ass.
Yeah.
You mean kicked his ass?
Yes.
Kicked his ass.
Who do you think wrote that line? Do you think that was ad-libbed or somebody wrote "You're on TV"?
I think they might have done quite a few takes, and that was the best one. Different lines, and they just decided on this one.
Yeah. You're on TV. It throws a TV at him.
So the next scene is one of the great ones, which is Taco Bell. All restaurants are Taco Bell / Pizza Hut for the international market. And my question is, no toilet paper and Taco Bell. Those two things don't go together.
No, they didn't think this one through.
No. Oh,
No.
technically, Taco Bell goes from a solid to a gas directly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why you don't need the toilet paper. But
Yeah, but did you see the food? The food was so tiny. Like their poops would probably be like rabbit pellets coming out anyway. So
true. It had a like a sushi vibe thing with barely anything on the plate, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
So if that's
Mexican
how they
went,
eat,
yeah,
if that's how
Mexican
they
went
eat,
Asian.
maybe
Yeah.
that's why they only need the three seashells. Yeah.
There you go. That could be it.
They only need a flick. They only need to flick it off.
That's right.
But
There
then
we go.
that leads me to another question. The assistant, the fatty one.
That's true.
How is it possible that
Associate Bob?
Associate Bob, why is he so fat if everything's illegal?
Then how does he use the three seashells?
I know.
He's got
Black
a secret
market.
stash. He's got a secret stash because he's assistant to Dr. Cocteau. So they probably get away with some stuff, you know?
So, Aaron, how do you think, using your theory of the three seashells, how do you think that guy uses?
Clamps it down real hard.
That's a big guy.
He borrows the neighbors.
He uses 6 seashells.
Which leads to one of the best scenes. No, the best scene of the movie. And one of the best scenes of 90s action flicks, which is the after dinner dessert special.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like how she casually throws it in too. Like, so you want to have sex? His reaction's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, please rewatch this scene, and it's his eyes, Sylvester Stallone's eyes. He's like looking left, right at her, left, right, and he's like, yeah. What?
And what's that? That was a funny scene too. So they get home. Aaron, you want to talk about the VR headset that they put on?
Oh, go ahead, Rafael.
Which is dead on.
Oh, is it?
Which we know from Time Cop.
From Time Cop, it's dead on. Yeah, so I guess you interact through VR and you don't touch each other. It's just, your imagination going crazy, and I guess that's how you orgasm. But I wouldn't know. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, but it's great that she went to go get comfortable first. She had to go.
I know that part. Yeah, that part I don't understand. And she actually, it's right behind you. She covered herself up.
Yeah,
it's like barely a leg right there. I can't even see that. How am I supposed to get excited? I guess the VR is supposed to get you pumping right there.
Yeah, I think the science behind it was that it like triggered the synapses or the pleasure stuff in your brain or whatever, and it allows you to interact. But it was really creepy the way they did it. It was almost like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when he was on the river, and it was like those screenshots of like the spider and stuff. But this was like her moaning or just like kind of half naked, but it was like weird flash shots. It was like, is this supposed to be hot or scary? I'm not sure what they're going for.
I think this is during the rave scene back in the 90s, and I think they might have taken that. It's just a lot of flashing lights. You don't know what's going on. You're probably high on ecstasy. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But it was interesting. Very interesting. You're right. More of a horror flick than a porn.
Yeah. And then, of course, Spartan wants to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yep. And what does he say? How does he want to do it? Come on, Andy.
He's like, boning? The wild mambo? The hunka chunka? Aaron, when's the last time you did the hunka chunka?
Definitely in college. Definitely my college days.
We call that BBW nowadays. Hunka chunka.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about this scene is, Spartan, after, of course, he gets kicked out, right? Lenina Huxley is just disgusted by exchanging bodily fluids. So he gets kicked out of his apartment. And after he thought he was going to have sex with her. And then he goes into his apartment, and some random girl FaceTimes him completely naked. And then after that, all he wanted to do was knit a sweater. So that behavioral engineering was strong.
Yeah.
That was strong.
You see some titties and you get an urge to knit. I mean,
yeah.
So my take is, if you eliminate bodily fluids, then there is no Pornhub. I'm sorry to say. You got to say bye-bye to facials, bye-bye to bukkake, bye-bye to ATMs. I don't want to live in that kind of a world. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's also another side to that. So if you think about that, the way they were interacting, so if that's how they did it, so they had the headsets or whatever, so technically you could do a match.com for headsets and just like randomly have sex and you don't get no STDs, I guess. But
I
that's
think
the
you're
world they
onto
want to live
something.
in.
I think you're onto something.
Rafal,
Especially-
you're definitely living in the underground resistance. You're not living. You're joining Dennis Leary.
Yeah, if you're not living in the underground resistance, you're not really living, right?
You're not really
you're
living.
dead to me. But one part I also don't understand is how this utopia is very clean, quote unquote, and then you get a random topless chick on your FaceTime/Skype phone, so showing some titties. It's like we're missing something here. It's like everything's supposed to be pure, and then boom. Oh, hi, Martin. Boom, tits.
Yeah, you would think there'd be like the black pasty bars, like it would just automatic. Because if you think about Google and all that stuff, the way they do it now, they can automatically figure out what's on there and just kind of blur it out for you. So in this utopia, I mean, I guess
the algorithm was off.
Yeah.
All wants more debauchery.
I want more debauchery, damn it, more titties.
So I do have to ask Rafal, because I think Rafal would probably have a great answer for it. If somebody randomly called you on that video phone and was topless on there and said, "Oh, excuse me," what would you do?
And if she was only topless, I would say, do the carpets match the drapes? And let's see the rest.
Definitely tell her your name was Martin too, right?
Oh, hi, Martin.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
me.
Martin.
Oh, sorry. So we moved to the underground resistance, talking about debauchery. Spartan tries some brand new cuisine, right, Andy?
Ah, the hamburgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted some. So I guess, I mean, this is right after his Taco Bell scene. So I think is that the last time he actually ate dinner? And did he eat dinner?
Yeah. Well, he
didn't really eat at that meal. He just kind of was yelling at Dr. Cocteau.
Oh, and the dumb lady, what was it? Some girl was calling him what is it?
A Neanderthal.
A Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't eat anything. That's right. So he gets down there and he smelled this lady's cooking some street meat and he's like, "Oh yeah, hamburger," and eats it. And then Huxley's like, "Do you know what that is?" And then he turns to the lady, goes, "What is that?" He says, "Rata." And he's like, "Oh, that's good rat meat."
Carne de rata. Thinks about it for a minute and then takes another bite.
Yeah. Oh, well, beforehand, they say, "Do you see any cows around here?"
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right.
And he had to trade in a Rolex to get that burger and a beer. He had to trade in a whole Rolex for it. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're iced up for whatever amount of years and your first meal is non-Taco Bell meat, Taco Bell, I guess I'd eat the rat burger too.
Yeah. I hope he learned how to use the 3 seashells, because after that meal, he's going to need it.
For a couple hours.
Yeah.
We also get to know Mr. Edgar Friendly Leary. He gives us the lowdown on what he's looking for, which is totally opposite of the utopia. He likes to smoke a cigar the size of Cincinnati. I do remember that line.
I think so,
and he wants to, read a Playboy and
run naked in the streets.
Run naked in the streets. Yeah.
That was a great rant. Great rant by him.
That was a great rant.
But that's classic Dennis Leary too. That is his stage routine right there. Just
he doesn't take a breath and just goes on a roll. So that should be my phone ringtone. His rant from Demolition.
Definitely, you and Edgar Friendly would get along. With him.
Why? Because I want to. Because I love to.
Because I want to.
So we move next to the car chase scenes, which we see the cars again, and while they're futuristic in '93, they're actually dead on right now. And we mentioned that before with the iPad and self-driving. But everything's kind of convenient around here, right, Aaron?
Yeah, so things are really convenient for Phoenix. He's going on his rant too with his goons, and they got to go get Edgar Friendly, and he walks right around the corner and boom, there's Edgar Friendly and of course John Spartan, and they have this shootout. No one hits anybody. The bullets don't work too well in the future. And then he escapes. He goes up the sewer system, and there's a police car just waiting for him. The door is wide open too. He doesn't even have to like break the weak glass. He could just hop right in and drive away.
Well, no one steals in the future, I guess.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. No debauchery, but he hops right in, drives away, and that was Lenina Huxley's car, and she left it right there for him.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that car chase scene, it was pretty crazy as Spartan's driving towards the police station right after the whole fight scene. You see these people like all over the place. He almost hits them, kind of goes up that ramp and crashes through the glass, which breaks before the car even hits it. So, the glass is really weak in the future. It's breaking before anything even touches it. And I kind of like the, what was that, foam?
It was the foam. Yeah.
Right? It was like the saving foam. That was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's like the airbag on steroids. It just
saved his life. Like a
Yes.
big cannoli. But
Well,
of course,
he's Italian.
he's Italian. But of course, the whole like after that happens, the police station is completely deserted. So I don't know if maybe the police officers in the future, when they see something happening, they like scatter, or if they just cleared the set afterwards because Lenina Huxley had to come running and save him. But everyone disappeared.
How did they get gas to run that car? Because it seemed like everything was on electric or something, and
it's real quiet cars, which is what we have. We're
Tesla.
transitioning right now. Or we might be transitioning. So the cars, I do remember, were very quiet, and they were provided by GM in '93.
Mhm.
And GM was one of the first cars to come out with an electric car, EV1. So maybe that was their dab into the future. We're on to the final scene, right? Oh, this is pretty good but bad at the same time, right, Aaron?
So yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it doesn't seem like Huxley's the one you want to bring with you. So it's just him and Huxley running into the building to fight Simon. And he has a whole gang, but I guess they all just well, there's a couple of guys, right? But he had a whole gang from before, so I don't know where they all went. And definitely a few nut shots in this scene. Lenina Huxley delivers a few nut shots to take out her guy. And she learned all of that from watching Jackie Chan movies. So she became an expert. That's pretty good.
Well, tidbit is Jackie Chan was supposed to be the bad guy. He declined. That's why there's a reference. He was supposed
That's
to
right.
be.
I remember hearing that. Yep.
Wesley Snipes' character. So
very different movie. I think very different movie.
Not as funny, maybe, if it was him. Probably more action oriented and realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of replacements, I think Sandra Bullock wasn't supposed to be.
Yep. She was a replacement
For what's her name from Tank Girl.
Yeah. I really don't want to go too deep on that, but 2 movies. I mean, two days on the shoot, and I think she got fired, and Sandra took over, and boom, the rest is history.
Yeah, and that would have made a totally different movie because those are totally different personalities. Like, I can't remember her name, but that's okay. So Tank Girl.
Tank Girl. Yeah. And then Simon Phoenix wants to defrost everyone, right?
Oh, he's taking everyone out, and checking out their butts on the way by too, as all these all the people are being defrosted. So I hope my butt doesn't look like that. So I thought the butt looked kind of nice. I don't know what he was talking about. And then he's Jeffrey Dahmer's there. He wants to defrost him. I don't know what his plan is with that one. He likes that guy.
What kind of trial did that guy get to be frozen? Like of all people, I mean, you were talking about the rap sheet of Simon Phoenix's rap sheet. How did this guy get a freezing?
Yeah,
well,
he should have been eliminated.
Well, once he gets defrosted and everything's Taco Bell, he'll be like, "Well, can you blame me for eating people?"
Oh,
but going back to Jeffrey, like he didn't possess, a superpower quality. Like he wasn't a strong guy. He was just a skinny white dude from, I think, the Midwest or something.
Yeah. He just liked chaos. Phoenix just wanted chaos. So he's just bringing everyone out that he could.
Yeah.
So.
The fight scene was kind of disappointing.
It was. It turned into like a boxing match at one point. And I was like, I don't know if, you want to get into a boxing match with John Spartan. But it was all over the place. and then the screaming claw. Remember when that claw comes down? When yeah.
Yep.
And it like makes a screaming sound for some reason as it goes to pick up John Spartan. It screams at him. It reminded me of the shark in Jaws: The Revenge, when they were like hitting with that flashing light, and the shark would scream. Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, that's,
The whole fight scene was a little bit off. Right, Spartans or Phoenix is opening up a machine gun as Spartan is in this claw, can't hit him once. And then is like clearly disappointed that he didn't hit him and the gun is out of bullets. It's like, what are we doing here?
They definitely rushed the last scene. It feels like they either rushed it or just ran out of money.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you said as far as Wesley Snipes' character losing his head. He does lose his head.
Loses his head at the end.
Pop.
And I don't know why does it bounce the first time? He knocks his head off. It bounces the first time, but shatters the second time.
Yeah,
Science?
What happened there?
Science.
Science.
Comments below.
Yeah, why does it bounce? Then shatter. And then I think Rafal has been 2 for 2 on my questions so far, so I have to dial this one up a little bit. And Andy, feel free. So I have one question for the both of you. We talked about this scene earlier where John Spartan gets a phone call. It's a woman who is topless with a little towel for her nether regions, and she's looking for Martin. On the bottom right-hand screen, her phone number appears. What is her phone number?
Shit, I have no idea. I'm not even going to try to look it up right now and pretend like I know.
No.
Holy crap. I didn't even know there was a number. That's a great one.
Her phone number.
Is it a 555 number?
It is. It is. It is.
I'm going to say area code. It's got to be a California area code 555. Is it a 0?
No.
Ah, okay.
But wait, before you go on.
Yeah.
The last 4 digits is there a reference in the movie for those 4 digits?
Not that I can, not that I know of. So it's 310-555-2477.
Must mean something in that movie because they wouldn't use that. The director had to use, has a meaning for the director. So comments below if you guys know anything about this.
310-555-2477.
And it's 310. That's a real. Is that California?
Yeah, I think that's LA, right?
San Andreas.
San Andreas.
Rafal's calling the number right after this.
Hey, this is Martin. You called me?
Yeah.
Hi, Martin. And Andy, what do you got? That was a good one. Andy, what do you got?
Yeah. What color are Simon Phoenix's eyes?
One's
blue and green. Blue and green, right?
Blue and hazel?
Yeah. Blue. It's blue and green. Yeah. He had 2 different color eyes.
Yeah.
Which is one of the coolest things I
remember in the close-up, one of the shots. They specifically did a close-up, I think, just strictly for the eyes.
Yep.
So you can see the difference.
All right, Rafal, you're up.
All right. So Sylvester Stallone's been in dozens of movies. Taking inflation into consideration, highest grossing movie he ever starred in. So not directed, produced, but he had to physically be in a movie. Highest grossing movie.
The Sluts count?
Close. No.
All right, I'm not going with that one, but highest. So you want the highest grossing movie?
Considering inflation, taking inflation into account. So just to give you a tidbit, number 3 is Rambo: First Blood Part 2, and because of the inflation.
Okay.
Is it? So if we're saying inflation, I'm alluding to something older. Was it
Rocky?
Was it Cobra?
Rocky seems too obvious. I'm gonna go. You're going with Cobra, Andy?
Cobra Tay.
Based on that laugh, I better take that one back. Is it?
I'm going Rocky 3.
5.
You say 3, 5. I can tell you it's not Rocky or Rambo. And before I give it up, it's in the last 3 years. Very recent movie.
Oh, so then you threw me off with the inflation. So I was going to go with one of those, not the, was it the Replacements with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Not the
Or
Replacements.
Escape Plan?
Nope. All right. So
No.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh.
He's in it.
Oh, snap. That's right.
400 million pretty much.
I totally forgot about
So,
that. And I watched that not too long ago.
There's hardly any inflation with that movie as far as no, because it was so recent. It's $400 million. Number
I still
two
think
is
it's Cobra.
number two, Rocky 3. Number 3 is Rambo First Blood Part 2. And then Rocky 4 is number 4.
Yeah.
Was Rocky 3, that was the Soviet Union?
No, 4 is Soviet Union.
4 is, yeah.
3 is Mr. T.
Mr. T. Oh, that's right. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. So
Good question.
final grade. Aaron, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going B plus here. We talk about the technology. We got all the talking tech, the self-driving cars, and they came as close to any movie that we've talked about or looked at so far as the flat screen TVs, because this TV was kind of a flat screen on the wall, didn't have the big butt, except it was going, it was kind of thin and vertical. Instead of the widescreen that way. So that was a little bit off, but all the iPads, the talking tech had all that.
But remember, this movie supposedly takes place 2032, so they're kind of, do you say behind or ahead? It's a weird little combo there.
Yeah, I mean, from being made in 90, this came out in 93, for them to predict that those things would be around in the future.
Yeah.
I thought that was...
For me, definitely a B plus. Another thing is, remember when the cops try to arrest Wesley Snipes for the first time, and the cop is holding up almost like a cell phone, like, what do I do now? It's equivalent to Siri or Google Talk, like, what do I do now?
Directions.
Give him directions how to arrest someone. So that was pretty close. The naked titties on Skype / FaceTime can't go wrong. Virtual porn, pretty dead on. Chip, I think by 2032, that might happen. They put a chip in you, like a little LoJack.
Yeah.
And what else? The cars, definitely the cars, dead on. Yep. Silent, can drive by themselves. The drawback, not the drawback, but one of the negatives is the clothes. Like I said, every futuristic movie, jeans, denim just disappears. So it's kimonos in this one. Like, really? All of a sudden
and for Stallone, he's got no arms, right?
No arms. Yeah, you see it right behind you, Andy.
Yeah.
He's got the guns packing.
In his kimono.
Yeah. What about you, Andy?
He ripped those off? You think he ripped them off before he?
Yeah. What about you, Andy?
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's very close to my heart. I rewatched it. Was the last week for this, and it still held up for me. I loved it. I loved it from end to end. The fight scenes, I thought, Wesley Snipes, awesome fight scenes with him in the beginning. I agree. At the end, it was like, they got a little more techie with it. With the, they were freezing the claw when he was trying to get out. He had to ice up the claw to get out. So the fight scenes were much better earlier. I agree with you guys on the tech. The tech seemed right on point. It's something like, okay, that could be today, with all the talking tech with the illuminate and the turning the lights on. Illuminate.
Oh, and one more thing. The doctor was talking to his students in a conference room. Remember the monitors that were rotating?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like a Zoom right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they actually have those, and they're on they're almost on, like, what are those things that you stand on them and it's got two wheels, the Segways?
Yeah.
So they have those. They fit like, it's almost like an iPad on a Segway, and it moves. Oh. So they can actually do that and remotely walk you in there. That's a real thing. They do that now. So yeah, that's the awesome job finding that one. That's cool.
Yep. And I think, a lot of accuracy there when we talk about predictions too, right? The no touching in the future. They were definitely onto something. Yeah, they were onto something with that. I like the auto inflate tires too. Hopefully, we have that. I know they have tires that can like get a flat and last for so many miles,
Mhm.
but they had auto inflate tires,
Mhm.
and definitely hope they have that by 2032. And we talked a little bit about the secure foam.
Mhm.
Seems like if they can make that work, like a pretty good idea if you're in a car crash.
Yeah.
Secure foam, fill up and fill up the car, and then you just bust out like a cannoli and walk away safely. So
Well, they have the
I'm
fix a flat. They
they do
have
have to
that
fix the flat. That's
They
right.
have flex, but running flat tires.
running flat tires.
Yeah.
And in '93 they didn't exist.
Right.
Beamers and Audis. I had a friend who had a flat tire in New York, and he made it to Connecticut, like Hartford, on
Yeah.
a run flat. And he says, as long as I didn't push it over 75, I was fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm going B plus for this movie as far as the tap system.
I'm going B. Andy.
So for me, I'm going A. Considering what the tech is right now, although a lot of things are bigger, like the screens are bigger, the way they build things are bigger. They're pretty accurate, just in smaller form factors to today. We're just really early on that stuff. So I love it. I'm going
A. You're going A.
I'm going A. Yeah.
And so between my B and your A and your B plus, let's do B plus.
B plus.
All right.
Demo Man,
Cool.
great one.
Anything you guys want to add?
No, hey, thank you guys for having me. I was so excited to be a part of this. It's again one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm grateful to be on the show with you guys, and thank you. Thank you. I had a great time.
Be well.
Be well.
Well.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Check out one of our other videos, and don't forget to comment below. We want to hear from you.